What's up, guys? It's Owen. Hey, are you stuck in a marriage where you guys are constantly fighting all the time and you want to make a change? Or maybe you're in a marriage that's good and you just want to kick it up a notch and step it up to the next level. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 fantastic husband techniques, things that you can do to become a better husband and live a more thriving, sexy marriage. Stay tuned. Welcome to the channel. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you're new to the community, definitely leave a comment down below and say hello. My wife and I, Theresa, deliver a couple cool videos every single week on marriage tips, some different things that we've learned that we want to share with you to help you live a better marriage, a marriage of intention and a marriage of purpose. Okay, today's video, we're talking about how to become a better husband. And this is a broad term, it's a loaded term. It means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And whether or not you're the problem in your marriage is meaningless. What this video is all about is teaching you a couple different skill sets, a couple different techniques that will not only make you a better husband to your wife, a better partner in your marriage, but I think it's also going to help you in other areas of your life as well, dealing with your kids, dealing with business people, and make you a more well-rounded man. Okay, so let's get into it. Point number 1 is learn your wife's personality style. Okay, now I can't stress this enough. We talk a lot on this channel about the DISC profile, right? D-I-S-C, and what that is this is a behavioral chart. It's a personality chart that helps you to understand what your wife's big motivating factors are, what motivates her, what especially hurts her, what drives her to become inward and to pull back from you, and all these different types of things. There are 4 major personality styles, D, I, S, and C. We talk about that more in this video here, so you can check that out, but you really need to take the time to learn your wife's personality style. For example, a D is somebody who's typically very blunt and straightforward. And then, although more men fall into this category, plenty of women do too. And men, if you're like an S or a C, if you're a little bit more inward and timid, I mean, it's really easy for your wife to kind of railroad you and feel like you're not taking leadership in your marriage. And so knowing what her personality style is, if she's a D, is going to help you to react to her in certain situations. Now, an I personality style is someone who's a little bit more social, right? They're going to be energized by social activity, maybe a little bit more scatterbrained, at times losing things and whatnot, but always like the life of the party. An S is someone who's a little bit more soft-hearted, someone who gets energy from being alone. And again, this you might wonder why your wife wants to spend time away from you or away from the family. And again, that shouldn't be insulting so much as it is just her person. She's getting energized, right, in a lot of cases. And then, of course, a C, a conscientious person. This is going to be somebody who is more interested in data and analytics and maybe can be a little nerdy, maybe a little bit too into the details, which drives me nuts. But again, knowing your wife's personality style and knowing what things really set her off is going to put you in a position to A, not do those things, and B, when she does get set off, you'll know why she's set off. You'll know what happened to trigger that emotion and what you can do to re-energize her and get her back into the marriage. And again, this is a huge part of leadership. Most business owners, entrepreneurs, they know the DISC personality profiles. They have all their employees go through it so they can better deal with their employees and react to them and put them in environments where they're going to thrive. So we've got some more information on that in the videos in the description box. Check those out. Highly recommend you learn your wife's personality style immediately. Okay, number 2 is learn your wife's love language. Now, a love language or love languages is a term that was coined by Dr. Gary Chapman in his book, The 5 Love Languages. And he talks about how we react or we feel love in 5 major ways. He talks about words of affirmation. He talks about gift giving and spending personal time. Again, we've got a whole video on that right here. And there's 5 core love languages. It's very important that you learn your wife's love language and you start to speak to her right in that language. And that is going to help you, along with the personality profile, to create synergy with your wife and to be in a place where you know when she's withdrawn from you or angry at you, you might think, well, I'll bring home some flowers, but my wife doesn't like flowers, right? She's not into that kind of thing. Or maybe, you think, hey, I'm going to write my wife a poem, but then you're like, dude, my wife's not that into it. When I've done that in the past, she's like not into that. That might be great for you. You might feel love that way through a poem or through a gift like flowers or a night out. But your wife may not feel love that way. She might feel love by acts of service, right? Simple things like doing the dishes, right, could actually make her feel loved. I remember the first time I discovered this about my wife, I was actually, this was when we first married, maybe in our first year of marriage, I was actually up to my ears. Like, her car was disgusting and I couldn't handle it anymore. So Saturday morning, I woke up, I went out to her car and I cleaned her car, and I even scrubbed, there was like resin, like rubber resin on the windows. I even scrubbed those windows to pieces, right, and made it sparkling clean. She came out to that car and she just was in tears, and I had no idea. I was just tired of the dirty car. We went to a marriage conference a few months later, and I learned that her love language was acts of service, and it meant so much to her that I would get up and spend my own time to serve her in that way. And it continues, acts of service continues to be her love language. So when we're fighting and when we're just tense with each other, I think to myself, how have I not served her? My wife must feel unserved by me or unloved by me. For some of you guys, your wife, her love language is going to be words of affirmation. It's going to be saying nice things to her. And so notice that if you guys are tense, if you guys aren't jiving, then it might be that you haven't told her verbally that you love her, that you think she's beautiful, right? So learn your wife's love language and then practice speaking it all the time. This is really hard for a lot of guys to do because we might disagree with her love language, right? Some of us guys who have like a C and analytical personality style go, words of affirmation is stupid. She knows I love her. I shouldn't have to say it. But again, you're asking your wife to be like you, and your wife's not like you. She's, in many cases, the opposite of you, and that's why you guys fell in love. You've got to speak to her in a language that she understands. Otherwise, you're just, kind of on this cycle where, she doesn't feel loved by you, so she's not loving on you, and you're just kind of perpetuating that cycle. Finally, number 3, and this is probably the most important thing, so bring it in, pull your notes back up. You really need to pay attention to this one here. As the husband, as the leader of your home, the spiritual leader, the romantic leader in your home, you have got to learn when to lead and when to sacrifice. Okay, if you guys have known anything about what we cover on this channel, we believe strongly that your wives want you to lead. And sometimes they won't let you lead, right? They feel like you've let them down in the past, and so they don't want to get let down again, so they won't let you lead. Or they want you to lead, but they're afraid you'll make bad decisions, so they lead for you, right? How many of you guys have experienced that? Let me know in the comment section. You need to know when to lead, when it's time to lead. And when it's time to sacrifice, right? In the New Testament, Jesus said, there is no greater love than this, than he that laid down his life for his friends. And Jesus often talked about sacrificing and being the one that says, no, you go first, or no, you pick the restaurant, or whatever the case might be, okay? So as a husband, tensions often arise when you're leading at a time when you should be sacrificing, and you're sacrificing at a time when you should be leading, right? And you've got to recognize when it's time for you to put your foot down and take charge. A good example is in dealing with perhaps a tense situation with a vendor, maybe dealing with the teacher at school, and normally you would back off of that and say, well, honey, you handle it, you handle the kid stuff. But saying, no, you know what? Like this woman is taking advantage of our kid, and we're gonna step. I'm gonna go in there and talk to her. But there might be other times, like in our house, it's the finances, right? Like my wife is great with money. She's great with QuickBooks, and so I don't try to. For the first couple of years, I tried to lead that. I tried to pretend like I knew how that all worked, and it caused stress in our home because I was making poor financial decisions with my credit and with different purchases around the house. Sacrificing that and letting my wife lead in that area while I sacrifice has made our marriage better because she's actually doing something she's really good at. And that has helped us to have a better marriage where we're both doing the things that we're good at. So I hope you guys found that helpful, those 3 tips helpful. I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, talk to us in the comment section below. Become a part of the Thriving Sexy Marriage community, because as men, we want to love on our wives, we want to love on our kids. We want to be better than our dads were for us. And so I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. If you want to check out more videos, we've got a ton more on the channel. I hope you'll hang out. Thanks for joining us today, and I'll see you in the next video.